No one pointed a gun to our head and said, you must be a chef. If cooking doesn't bring you joy, then it's not a life worth living. It's not a career worth pursuing. Cook to be happy. A menu is like a concert. There has to be different tempos along the way, and it has to flow.
Thanks, Chef Han, for being with us. So let's start with old question. Your relationship with food growing up. Were you always into food? Growing up, how was it?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Chef Han from restaurant Labyrinth, Singapore. Since I was young, I've been growing up around food. I've been born in a family, firstly, whose, I think, food ties us together. My grandfather used to be a restaurateur when he was around. And he used to own steakhouses and Sichuan restaurant. So basically, it's not uncommon to find a family every once in a while in one of his restaurants, eating and just having great conversations over the food as well that he used to sell. And more importantly, my grandma, who's like the typical Chinese matriarch, is an excellent chef. She is the one that every Saturday when the family got together at their home, she single-handedly cooks food for everybody as well. She refused to let the helpers even touch the food because for her, she believes that only she can deliver the kind of excellence that she expects of herself. And the amazing part is that like every grandma, mother who cooks at home, they cook out of love and not just the typical standard fare they lay down for everyone to share as per like those traditional Chinese customs. For us grandkids, she will always cook something special for us, depending on what we like. So, for me, I used to like fried fish, when I was growing up as well. She would always fry a fillet of fish for me. And that fish was just for me. No one else can touch it. My cousin used like a chicken drumstick, and the drumstick was reserved for my cousin, for example. So everyone gets a little bit of something that they like as well. On top of, her amazing cooking in the middle as well, which is, born from a Hainanese style of cooking, like, her own version of chicken rice and her rice dumpling. And she even had like pork chops and steak because, back then there was a bit of British influences in the, what we call Hainanese British cuisine in Singapore. And she always have a nice pork ball soup with watercress in there. And, it goes on and on and on. And obviously, when she passed on, I was very lucky to inherit most of the recipes. And although, I'll say I wouldn't claim to be as good a chef as she is, I don't think I'll ever reach a standard no matter where I am. I think I'm just happy that I'm able to carry on the torch left by her.
Nice. So we obviously know each other for a while. We talked before early days, I guess early pandemic during that time. So after so many years, how did yourself change or grow personally, and also the Labyrinth as restaurant? How did it change?
For me, to be honest, when I first opened Labyrinth 12 years ago in February 2014, I didn't really set myself any targets, I did not really open a restaurant and striving to earn Michelin stars, to enter the World 50 Best, Asia 50 Best list, to win awards. I left a very cushy banking career to pursue my passion of cooking without any regards towards financial sensibility at all, on making such a career switch. Or I just remember that I wanted to cook because that's what I love. And that what is something that, transports me to another universe. Obviously, over the years, Labyrinth has gone through a few iterations. While the name is still the same, the location has changed once, and there's been a few renovation iterations of Labyrinth. The cuisine evolves in accordance to even my own personality and my own temperament and my own knowledge as a chef. Having mostly been a self-taught chef at the start, obviously the food was a little bit, I would say, molecular, a bit rough around the edges, and more, maybe some might say fun, some might say contrived, but it was always my intention to delight customers through my food, right? Then we have evolved to different stages where we used to deconstruct and reconstruct hawker food. So Labyrinth always stayed true to its mantra of showcasing or shining a spotlight on Singapore flavors. and to show the world what Singapore has in our little red dot of a country. That has always remained consistent with how I've cooked, how my team has cooked with me. However, how we have expressed it have changed along the way. Like I said just now, like I just said, Labyrinth used to focus on deconstructing hawker dishes, presenting them in a different texture, different form. But as I grew along and having had the blessing to visit so many countries, to learn about so much ingredients from other countries, through different seasons, to meet many chef friends who are so open to sharing, to be able to dine on the streets to learn every country's culture, and especially realizing that Singapore also is a country with a melting pot of cultures in itself. The cuisine obviously evolves for the better, from one of molecular to deconstruction, reconstruction, to where I call it right now, where it is what I call Singapore cuisine without borders, which kind of is an oxymoron in itself, because Singapore cuisine, as we know what it is today, is without borders in the first place, because we were a migrant society like 100 years ago, where people come from overseas, bring different influences and fuse them together as what become known as quintessentially Singapore cuisine. What we're trying to do right now is obviously to deep dive into tradition, to learn more about very heritage recipes that obviously delivers cleaner flavors, not because our recipes now are worse than before, but because in the past, manpower was higher in abundance, cost was cheaper for sure, and people had more time to cook. Now, however, the same chefs or hawkers, some that are unable to replicate the same recipes that their fathers or grandfathers used to do because of the same cost pressure that we have in the modern day society. So by doing so, going back to the past, I realized that finesse and refinement of Singapore cuisine actually lies in our history. And by using recipes from the past, pairing them with top-notch seasonal produce that we can source from around the world due to our geographical location in Singapore, where we can get ingredients from Japan, Europe, Australia, Korea, Malaysia, we're in Singapore, Thailand, everywhere literally as well. We're able to create what I call my own language of Singapore cuisine, where it's an open box cuisine that's still authentically Singaporean, still diverse in its flavors, yet refined, and yet also showcases the premium produce that we specially source for our diners, because historically, Singapore cuisine is not known to showcase ingredient, hence the heavy use of spices to preserve produce due to a lack of refrigeration back then. And yeah, that's why Singapore flavor has always been on the rich, flavorful, umami side as well. But that doesn't necessarily cast a spotlight to the ingredients in itself that's being showcased in the dish. And so at Labyrinth, after 12 years, I can confidently say that we have managed to reach a level where we're able to tiptoe the fine balance between the authenticity of flavors, heritage, and seasonal produce.
That's an interesting point you're making, because as I'm tasting the menu, obviously, I was saying that the level of execution has been so much higher than before, even though it was really good before. But at the same time, I'm wondering, how do you put together the menu based on sort of the idea of borderless Singapore cuisine?
I always believe that cooking a dish is easy. Creating a dish is easy. Okay, something difficult. Some dishes take longer, something shorter. But actually, the most difficult part of it is fitting them in the menu. A menu is like a concert. There has to be different tempos along the way, and it has to flow. It has to flow like naturally and logically. And to be honest, some of the dishes that we produce out of the kitchen might be very strong on its own, but it doesn't fit the menu. The flavor profile might be a bit too strong, too rich. It may not fit any part of the menu because it's kind of like, it's like ramming your palate in the middle of the experience and not being able to enjoy anything after that. So really it's about trying to understand how flavor flows from A to B to C. When do you need intermission as well? When do you need, to play the hard, heavy music? When you need to go slow and soothing? And when you up the tempo again to rile up the crowd, to bring the energy back. And so I think it's important that a chef has to eat his own restaurant. So every new menu that we launch, I actually eat it myself. And it gives me from head to toe, time and time again, in order to understand, does it make sense to me? Because as much as my diners are very, very important, I think as I said, having been able to be blessed the opportunity to travel around the world and dine at all the best food places from casual to fine dining, I would consider myself a big foodie as well. And as a big foodie, I'm probably the harshest critic of my own restaurant. So I have to dine and I will provide unadulterated criticism on myself and on service as well, so that we can become better. And that's the key part. Is never be afraid to question yourself, push yourself further, and always remain humble.
That's a great point. I'm thinking, just in terms of, I was thinking to myself as I'm eating the different dishes. There's not a lot of strong, like for example, like garlic flavor. I'm guessing that's because of the fact that you have to sort of balance everything up as a menu.
The garlic's actually there, but we see there's a difference. For example, we have the wok in the kitchen. We actually use the wok as well. Why does it not come out in a predominant way, in a very rich way? Is because of one. I'll give an example. Soups. These days, if you're making a soup, people just chop all the aromatics, the whatever. I mean, making a chicken soup, they make a chicken carcass, the bones, whatever, they roast it as well. Everything goes in a pot at once, and then you switch on the fire, they let it simmer as well. And voila, you have a soup. What has been mostly forgotten or not commonly used anymore is that when you make a soup, it's about layering of flavors. The first layer comes, let's say, for us, we want the umami base, so let's say we create a dashi as well. Then we strain it out. Then we create a second layer, let's say, using the umami base, let's say garlic, pandan leaves, fragrances, not umami, but fragrances. So garlic, pandan leaves, ginger. Then we strain it out. Then comes the bones, or, whatever we want to flavor it with. Then we strain it out. Then you finally have the finishing touch. It's a 4-layer soup that takes 2 days to prepare. Then the soup must sit overnight in the fridge to mature in its flavor. Then when it mellows off overnight, instead of making a soup and serving it immediately. So that's the reason why some of our flavors don't seem strong, but actually it's still there. But it's taken us a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of research, and a lot of failures in order to bring back all these old techniques that we don't shout about in the restaurant. We just want diners to have an enjoyable dining experience, to have a very refined experience, knowing that you're coming to Labyrinth for that precise reason, that you're able in Labyrinth in 2.5 hours to consume around 50 different dishes inspired by my home country, which is Singapore. Whereas if you go to a hawker center and I load you with 15 dishes, even if you take a spoon of everything or 2 bites of everything, you will not be able to complete the entire experience, because our flavors are just really, really rich, really awesome, but it also hits home quite hard sometimes as well. And I think that's what Labyrinth aims to do, is to provide an alternative Singapore experience that's refined and elevated.
So, to talk about maybe a little higher up level, we're talking about the food and beverage industry in Singapore and in general the world. Obviously, a lot of challenges becoming, rising costs, inflation, all these different things that you have to deal with.
Yep.
So, do you deal with it a certain way? Do you think about these things all the time? Do you worry about them, or?
What's facing the industry in practically almost every big city right now is obviously rising food costs, rising rents, manpower shortage. I used to lose sleep over all these. But to be honest, after 12 years, I've come to realize that it's a problem that won't ever go away. So I learned to live with it. In the past, there are days when you're so short on staff. Of course, there are days now when we also are short on staff, when there's staff turnover, people leave for better opportunities, or they served us loyally for a long time and they want to, find new pastures as well. And I'm more than encouraging of it. But I think one thing that I've come to put into place is really a bigger focus towards staff welfare. Empowerment is important. No one wants to come to work and just finish their task from A to Z and go home without any feeling towards what they're doing. And in fact, most chefs are in this industry because they are passionate about what they do. But be honest, there are better ways to earn money out there. And it's for me to understand each staff to see what they are interested in, where they want to grow, and hopefully trying to find a place for them within Labyrinth itself. And for the senior staff who have served me loyally as well, who knows my restaurant inside out as much as I do, it's about the empowerment I give, that trust I give them, saying that, look, I trust you. This is my restaurant, but yet I'm handing you the keys to Nonna as well. And it gives them a lot of, freedom to express themselves as managers, as well as to also create dishes alongside me. It's not just my voice alone. So when we create new dishes, I take all their opinions. The front of house will taste the dish together. The kitchen will taste the dish together, even if it's in its infancy R&D stage. And we discuss. And some of them have also been encouraging, so they actually have joined young chef competitions, like San Pellegrino Young Chef Asia. And so two of them actually made the Asia finals. And actually both of them have finished run-up, which I'm very proud. I took home one took home Sustainable Award, and one took home the Mentor Chef's Choice Award as well. And that brings me no greater pride in seeing, my young chefs grow, and hopefully Labyrinth will be the platform for them to express themselves more. So it's not just about me. So that has also helped, obviously, to slow down the staff turnover also as well. And as for rising costs, inflation in food as well, something they've got to deal with from a business perspective. And I always said, being a chef and owner, not just being a chef, but also the owner, I have equal responsibility on not just the food, but also running the business as a business. Because I want to pay my staff better. I want to make sure they have a good life for all the hard work they put in as well. And obviously, I have accountability to my partners as well. So we've got to be smart around our pricing, we've got to be smart around how we do marketing, and how we manage our costs, obviously, and how we push our sales. So all these things, to be honest as well, is part of an ongoing process that doesn't stop. It's technically my day job as much as my night job.
Yeah, that's for sure. I know when we were just talking about earlier, a lot of your team has been here for years, like 8 years, 9 years. So there is that sort of growth that they feel that they're part of the work that you do, and a team achievement for everything that you do here.
Yep, for sure. Yep.
So you personally often travel for collaborations with other chefs in the world.
Yeah.
Europe, Asia, wherever the case may be, you go a lot to different places, restaurants to work together. So tell me, why are you so interested in these sort of partnerships?
I love collaboration. One thing for sure is that collaboration is a learning curve for me. So as a chef owner, I'm unable to just ditch my responsibility as the owner and chef of Labyrinth to go and start shit other restaurants. So how else do I grow as a chef? Collaborations are a fantastic way for us to enter another kitchen and to exchange knowledge and information. Cooking in another kitchen in another country and trying to work with their local produce or whatever is the best in season exposes us to new cooking techniques. Like, okay, for example, if I'm in Japan and there's this fish in season and I'm like, how's the best way to cook it? Can always ask, let's say, my Japanese chef friend who's the host, for example, okay, what's the best way? What's the technique? I can play around with it. And also when I dine in their restaurants, I have, first-hand access to information, to recipe and techniques, without actually having to do the ground work at the same time. And also, it's not just about me, it's an exchange of knowledge when it comes to Singapore. So normally, most of my collaboration, we structure it as a home and away league, like football. So when it comes to Singapore, I also will host them. And obviously, I bring them to the markets. I show them what we cook. I bring them to local places. I share knowledge as well about how this dish is being created. And, there's really this really active, free flow of information because the chef community is so generous. Because every chef in what we do is in this sphere is unique in his way. So I'm not going to be worried about another chef opening up a similar labyrinth next to me as well. Every recipe is up to his or her own interpretation. What comes out totally going to be totally different. So we are more than happy to share. And collaboration also is a way that chefs know the best places to eat. The street food, that little stall in an alleyway that no one knows of. If you are a tourist, you have no idea where it is, and chefs know where to eat. And that's where we also have access, to eat the best street food and also learn from that. So, and also to cook for different clientele. It's important as well to cook for different clientele. And it brings me no greater joy than to share Singapore flavors with the world. To be able to bring Singapore flavors from our little country as well to the greatest food capitals in the world, be it San Sebastian, be it Tokyo, be it Copenhagen, be it Bangkok, be it Korea in Seoul, so in Korea as well, sorry, and be it, in Hong Kong, anywhere, Philippines, Manila, anywhere as well, London as well. It's amazing for me as well, just be for me, my own ambassador, little ambassador to my own country, which I love.
It's funny because you're mentioning going to Seoul and Korea. I know you joined the Korean reality cooking show, Coach Chefs in My Fridge. So what was that experience like?
Very, very memorable, very stressful. You watch the show, my hands were actually shaking. And it's 15 minutes cooking. You got legit 15 minutes, no more, no less, to cook up a dish as well for the judge. And that short span of time is enough to make any grown chef cry, the other day as well, to deliver something and to compete against seasoned chefs on the show who've been doing it for years, especially as well. And I had the great joy of cooking up against a very good friend and dear friend of mine who's Chef Choi Yun Suk as well. I know him for so many years. And it was a very friendly competition. The stress was not because we were competitive and wanted to win, I'll say. The stress was actually delivering a dish in 15 minutes. That's so hard, 15 minutes to create something that's Singaporean, using ingredients from a fridge that I don't even know who it belongs to in the first place until the show. So for me as well, I think I acquainted myself well with not just the Korean market in terms of, what I cook, which is a Korean version of a chili crab as well, but also, based on, feedback from viewers from Singapore. They were also very happy that I was being the first Singaporean chef on the show, and also I cooked a dish that's worthy of, all that Singapore will be proud of.
Nice. So let's go back to a little bit more personal questions, a few of them. The first would be, what's your favorite dish or cuisine?
Singapore food, obviously. I love Singapore food as well. Obviously, I love Japanese, I love Italian, I love, French food. I love Korean food, everything. Actually, I love food in general, Thai food. I love every food. There's a different day where I'll create different thing, but my heart always goes back to being to a Singaporean boy loving Singaporean food as well. And this is something that only struck me when I was living overseas during my academic years in London as well, that when I was in Singapore, easy access to affordable, tasty hawker food kind of makes us take it for granted. When you're overseas, you realize that how much you really miss Singapore food. And for me, I love my Singapore food, be it bak chor mee, bak kut teh, Hokkien mee, chicken rice, nasi lemak. The list goes on and on and on as well. Every day there's a different craving. And yeah, this is always Singapore.
Cool. What's the best memory you have as a chef, and what's the worst one?
There's so many highs as a chef. I mean, of course, my first Michelin star was one of the first things. I remember I was like so nervous before the awards. They don't actually tell you that you actually got a star. They say invitations, say you're part of the award ceremony, but they don't actually say you won a star. So obviously, most guys think, oh, that means you won a star, but yes, you wouldn't actually believe it until you actually won a star, right? So I remember the whole day of the award ceremony, the moment it started as well, I was very fidgety, rested, I was smiling the whole day until even when they announced Labyrinth, I walked on stage, I'm like, oh my God, we want a star, right? I mean, this is a dream of a chef. Although I said I did not open Labyrinth to chase stars, but it is a massive validation that we are in this very special bracket of chefs that's been recognized, of course. And while I don't believe that stars are everything, that I've met many chefs without stars who cook amazing food and hawkers as well. For me personally, it's definitely a high. And another equal high was during the Asia's 50 Best Awards held in Singapore. We won our highest position ever of number 11 in Asia. So we went from number 40 to 11 the same year, and I was sitting on my seat wondering when they're going to call us out, because it was a countdown from 50 to 1, right? And when I first opened Labyrinth, it was the same year 50 Best was launched in Asia. And it was in Singapore. It was actually the first whole city. So I was invited by our tourism board to witness, as an observer, when the first award was held here, and I was sitting there in my seat as an observer, looking at all these great chefs going on stage, collecting the 50 Best Awards and being named among the 50 Best. And I asked myself the question is, why is there no Singaporean? We are in Singapore, and as a proud Singaporean, as much as I love all my chef friends out there, and I respect them and look up to my chef heroes, why was there not a Singaporean? That was 2014. And fast forward to 2023, 9 years later, when the award came back to Singapore, and I went on stage, it felt like a full circle. In my home country, where I used to sit at, like a little boy chef, gawping at all these hero chefs going on stage, to dreaming that one day a Singaporean will go up, whether is it me or not. So suddenly realizing that 9 years later that I'm on the stage. It's a dream that I would never have envisioned will come true as much as winning a star. And these awards they mean something, but yet at the same time, it doesn't distract me from my main goal, is that whether is it 1, 2, 3 star, number 1, number 2 in the world, Asia, whatsoever, whatever ranking you are, my main goal is to feed people. And it always goes back to the day I left my finance career to come to F&B, that I want to make people happy through my food. And that's still the same.
And then the worst memory you have?
The worst memory is obviously just quite simple. The first 3 years of Labyrinth was tough. We launched this new brand of Singapore cuisine. No one's ever seen it before. No one wanted it. It's like, what in the world is this guy messing around with hawker food? Maybe you still think I am messing around with the hawker food as well. But from us, I think the first 3 years was a tough sell. I mean, I was a very raw chef in the other day, and my ideas maybe was a bit raw, but business was not good. We have lost quite a bit of money in the first 3 years of operations, to a point whereby it was on the verge of closing down. And down to our last 10,000 in the bank account, and I had to hustle as much as I can to keep the cash flow going. Because 10K is nothing. In this industry, 10K equally means bankrupt. We're running a restaurant. It's as good as dead. But I refuse to die. But also the most part, of course, you leave a cushy job to pursue a dream, and a dream became a nightmare. People calling you up, when am I going to get paid? Stuff are like, is there any bonus this year, boss? I'm sorry, we didn't make money, but I try my best to pay you something on top of your salary, on top of that as well. And which we did. We actually paid bonus even though we were losing money. That's how much I love my staff. We did installments, I remember as well. My partner was asking me, why are you paying your staff bonus when we're losing? And my answer to my partners was, it's my responsibility that we are losing, not the staff. The staff shop every day, they work so hard to prepare, be it for nobody that came in that night or for a full house that came in that night as well. I can't pin it on them. It's my responsibility. They deserve to be rewarded for their hard work nonetheless. So those were tough years when, there was a lot of arguments and difference of opinions with my partners, whom, to be honest, on hindsight, everyone had a great intention. It's just about different opinions coming through, and, mentally I was not in the right headspace. I just wanted to keep on cooking. No one was going to take my dream away from me. And obviously, it was a nightmare. When you're down to that little money and no one's going to help anymore, you're out of cash. It was tough.
You succeeded in went through that tough time. Any kitchen secrets you share? Could be cooking, could be restaurants themselves that people don't usually know.
My advice to any young chef, to young, is what I've always believed in, and then what I think repeated over this, this conversation, time again. Don't cook for awards. Cook for your customers. Cook for yourself. Cook to be happy. If cooking doesn't bring you joy, then it's not a life worth living. It's not a career worth pursuing. The awards may or may not come. But most importantly, if you cook great food, you put your heart and soul, and customers can feel your passion and happiness through your food, customers will come, irregardless of awards. So always remember why you started cooking. Be at home, culinary school, in a restaurant. No one pointed a gun to our head and said, you must be a chef. We became a chef because we all love to eat and love to cook. And I think the key part is never forget that feeling that brought us to this industry.
Right. And last question, any plans, exciting things that are happening in the future you can share?
Oh, of course, exciting things. I'm opening new concept with new partners in the other day as well. It is basically, I call it the all-star Singaporean lineup cast as well. So it's going to be at a very amazing location, which is the National Gallery. It's a great, historical site for Singapore. And we're lending a vibey edge to it as well. It's going to be a concept called Milli, Milli, which is basically a 3-in-1 concept, delivering the Singapore food with a modern vibey edge, big flavors, sharing plates as well, different what Labyrinth does as well, helmed by myself, with cocktails done by VJ, who's the amazing, bartender and the owner of a native cocktail bar, which focuses on a lot of sustainability and a lot of local produce at the same time. And as well as there's also a lounge with live music helmed by, a collective of talented Singaporeans as well, who currently run a club called Base as well, that delivers a great vibe as well. So basically, the best of entertainment, the best of Singaporean cocktail, the best of hopefully Singaporean food. I would always call myself the best as well, coming together, to create, a whole new juxtaposition of a modern Asian concept as well to a very meaningful, iconic location in Singapore. And that's going to be opening in June.
So soon then.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. That's all the questions I have. Thanks again, Chef Han, for being with us. And yeah,